A big question in Tompkinsville today. How do you want your burger, squeezed or unsqueezed? We are having a celebration collecting teddy bears to help the Barron River Area Child Advocacy Center. I'm joined by my friend with his Harley-Davidson bandana and his blue ribbon. We had a great Easter and it was gorgeous outside, so the kids got to go out, run around, play, work off some of that energy. Wash, rinse, repeat. We're seeing that pattern once again, and you can really feel the air outside when you walk out there. Thanks so much, Shane. First at 4 today, Kentucky opened vaccinations to any Kentuckians 16 and older, beating President Biden's timeline by 1 month. U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell visited the UK healthcare vaccine site at Kroger Field, which has now administered more than 200,000 vaccines. They average 4,000 shots every day. Senator McConnell says it's an impressive number.
And we witnessed a modern medical miracle in our country. Not one, not two, not three. 3 effective vaccines in under a year.
Governor Andy Beshear said last week ended the state's 12-week decline in COVID-19 cases. He said there were 299 new cases of the virus on Sunday, 5 new deaths, and 9 deaths from the audit. He also reported 83 cases of the B.1.1.7 COVID-19 variant in Kentucky, including 10 in Allen County, 2 in Barron, 1 in Logan, 1 in Simpson, and 2 in Warren County. The governor also announced that fully vaccinated Kentuckians are no longer being asked to limit domestic travel. However, he says masks and other safety protocols should still be followed when traveling. Now to the latest on the coronavirus across the nation. As Marcy Gonzalez reports, the number of new COVID-19 cases keeps rising, and what's described as a new double mutant variant has now been discovered in the U.S.
Growing concerns about a possible...
And we'll have a look at how many children have lost a parent to COVID-19 a little bit later at 4. Delta, Coke, and several other blue chip companies criticizing the new voting legislation in Georgia. And now the governor speaking out against what he calls cancel culture. Today, Major League Baseball still holding firm, saying this year's All-Star game will not take place in Atlanta. This after Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed into law several voting restrictions. Critics say the impact of the laws will be to limit voting access, especially to Black residents. Executives from Dow, PayPal, Uber, Lyft, Estee Lauder, Under Armour, and more are sending a unified message to Republicans in state houses across the country, writing, elections are not improved when lawmakers impose barriers that result in longer lines at the polls or that reduce access to secure ballot drop boxes. Today, pushback from Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
My advice to the corporate CEOs of America is to stay out of politics.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott tweeting his dismay with the MLB, saying he'll no longer throw out the first pitch at the Texas Rangers game, saying there's a false narrative about Georgia's election laws. Meanwhile, Georgia's governor accusing baseball of caving to fear, pointing out that the new law expands early voting with more days of early voting in Georgia than in New York. And you just heard from Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. He also released a statement regarding voting laws in Georgia, saying the president's remarks comparing the laws to Jim Crow are disinformed. 13 News asked Congressman Brett Guthrie his opinion on voting laws. He says he believes the federal government shouldn't dictate what states do.
I don't know the Georgia law does know what the president said was equivalent to Jim Crow in the past. I do support voter ID laws. I think that people it should be easy to vote. But we should know that the people are voting are registered to vote and they have the right ID.
Congressman Guthrie says he believes ballot harvesting opens up the door for fraud. Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles applauded the 2021 Kentucky High School Athletic Association and Kentucky Department of Agriculture Ag Athletes of the Year. Austin Randolph of Muhlenberg County and Annika Reed of Metcalfe County were both named Outstanding Ag Athlete of the Year. Each was awarded a $2,000 scholarship. The 2021 Ag Athletes of the Year were named at a ceremony during the KHS AA Boys Sweet 16 State Basketball Tournament in Lexington. Recently, there have been several structure fires in Bowling Green. On March 12th, the Bowling Green Fire Department responded to a house fire on Kentucky Street, the cause unknown. 3 weeks ago, on March 19th, a fire was reported at a home on 12th Street. No injuries were reported, but the home suffered significant damage. This past Friday, the fire department responded to a structure fire on Park Street, where no injuries were reported. And just yesterday, the department also responded to a house fire, this one on Clay Street. With the surge in fires, 13 News asked the fire department if there was any connection between them.
Bowling Green Fire Department has responded to several residential structure fires here lately. At this time, they're also under investigation, and there's no concern about them being related at this time.
The fire department says it could be a while before the investigation turns up anything.
Well, the primary goal is that you want to keep yourself safe as an officer, and you also want to keep your community safe.
The Derek Chauvin trial turns its focus to the former officer's training. Details are straight ahead. Big question in Tompkinsville today. How do you want your burger, squeezed or unsqueezed? As a Kentucky staple is opening again for the first time in over a year. Dovey's opened in 1938. They shut down due to the pandemic. Today was their 4th day back open for business, and they were sold out of burgers by noon. They're making about 850 burgers a day, not including hot dogs, chicken, and bologna.
I can remember Daddy saying, well, why don't you get up there and go get us some Dovey burgers on a Saturday morning? He's like, you better get up there before 10 or you won't ever get in. And it's still the same. You better have to start in before 10 o'clock or you might not get in.
Dovey's opens at 8:30 each morning. Workers suggest getting there early if you want a burger before they're sold out. County clerk offices statewide have been experiencing technical difficulties for days due to state system outages. County clerks use a statewide system to process transactions such as vehicle registrations, transfers, and vehicle titling. The state has worked on the issue since last week, and the Barron County clerk says it's actually worse on Monday.
You can still come in if you need any services involving our recordings department. For example, lots of folks are still trying to get marriage license this time of year. Obviously, we can still issue marriage license. We can still do recordings for deeds or properties. If you have a delinquent property tax that you would like to pay,
you can contact your local clerk's office to confirm their hours of operation and to get the latest on the system update. A Bowling Green City Commissioner becomes the new Director of Community Impact for United Way of Southern Kentucky. Melinda Hill will be responsible for achieving community change goals while also developing effective partnerships to support those goals. She'll also oversee the fund distribution process. Former WKU and NFL football coach is sharing his memories of WKU Athletics Hall of Famer and All-American center David Carter, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 67. Romeo Crennel's journey to the NFL head coach began as a walk-on at WKU in 1965. Carter was a 4-year starter for the Hilltoppers from 1973 to 76 and was inducted into the WKU Athletics Hall of Fame in 1996. Crennel says Carter was a strong athlete and a dependable man on and off the field.
Some of the things that impressed me at that time was I just felt like that he was a solid individual. All right, felt like he was a solid individual. I thought he had toughness. He was dependable. Could kind of depend on the guy, and then he was athletic for the position. Because sometimes centers are not athletic, but he was athletic.
Crennel became the NFL's Houston Texans' new defensive coordinator, a city where Carter played in the NFL. Over the years, the two reconnected and shared memories from WKU.
Anyways, killing each other like flies, and that is not the way it was meant to be.
Gun violence across the country and how the Biden administration is trying to tackle it.
It doesn't mean we stop there. They continue. I mean, there are studies being done now, ongoing as we speak, about looking at the feasibility about if and when we should be boosting people.
Plus, a little bit later at 4, a look at if a booster vaccine is needed for COVID-19.
You're watching 13 News at 4.